but now you're nowhere to be found. I wish I could afford a rollie for the police. On me, turn up the volume for me. What happened to me? Yeah, I think I'm say I'm ready to be anyone shouting. Good morning. Table and shines. What's up, Miss IDGF? Good morning. Good morning. Missed you guys. Wish I could afford a rollie for the police. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Conchita. Good morning, Platinum. Calling for me. What happened to me? Yet I think I'm ready. Anyone shouting? I love that for you, Cam. I've got three. I've got 3 hours with a lot to get in. Aw, thank you, Bernard. I appreciate that. Yes, girl, I know you always on a flight. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning. I hope everybody is doing okay today. I don't even know that I want to say anything more than okay today. Like literally, I have so many things that I've lined up to talk about over the last few days, and it just has not happened. And so you all know it's been literally a week since I was live. TikTok is not happy with me. You've been waiting for me this morning. I am here. Yeah, I was going to be on much earlier than this, but literally I was getting the kids in the car, and my great niece called me because my niece had a significant seizure this morning, and so I had to take Bella and Mila to school, then come back, get to my daughters, get to my nieces where my daughter was. I called my daughter and said, "Hey, I need you to get up, put on a mask." Because she's like at the end of her COVID. My daughter has COVID. And so she's been sick for a week. And literally I was like, I need you to put a mask on and get to Allie's because my niece had a seizure this morning. So all the things. This has been a lot. So yeah, so I was supposed to be live earlier, but it is what it is. And we are live now. I absolutely have, what am I trying to say? Right. Life be lifing. So I have a 1 o'clock today. What's up, Jay Owen? So yes, and she's good. It is just it is one of those things, when she has seizures, and this one was just significant. And so like very, very, very confused. Oh, Cam, they are on me right now because I haven't had one in a week. Right. I haven't had a panel in a week, and my WhatsApp is insane. And 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 in some ways, appreciate you, tech lady. In some ways, not like really not cool the way that it is, but it is what it is, right? And so yeah, so I'm not sure. Not sure exactly, and I don't know. So how about that? No, not my inbox. It's only my WhatsApp. Yeah, I know, Cam. My thought process is that it's gonna. No, I need to do it tomorrow when I don't have a hard cutoff. I need to do it tomorrow when I don't have a hard cutoff. I have a hard cutoff today, so that's why. Yeah, so I need to do it tomorrow when I don't have a hard cutoff. So. But I do want to talk about quite a few things, and there were some things that I don't know. Yeah, if I've even had, yes, 100% coolest mom ever, Kathy, and we will talk about that too in a second. And Appreciate it, Big Daddy D. Yeah, it's been a week. Appreciate it, Monica. Yeah. So uh, things that I want to talk about today. Even though, well, let me not. Oh, Carla, look, I'm not done. Hey, Doug. So Carla, I have like the last few. I have like the last bit of detail work to do, but this is your piece, Carla. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, thank you for the swan, Big Daddy D. I appreciate it. See that? So it's almost done. It's not done yet, but close. So close, close, close. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about some of the things that I have to talk about this morning. I don't really desire to talk about it, but I have to talk about the President of the United States. Um, I need to talk about the U.S. military and a story that I missed almost a year ago, and I want to make sure that we talk about it right now because it is Aziz, because it is important, especially with Memorial Day just passing, right? So I do want to talk about that. Um, yeah, I got it, Red Hot. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Yeah, I would do it today, but I have a hard stop. And to be honest, I need my hard stop today. Today's therapy day. So I need my hard stop today. Okay. Is that helpful? Maybe. Does that help? So yesterday Mila graduated from pre-K, and so I wasn't here with her. What's up, B Action? Hey, Red Hot. So Mila graduated from pre-K yesterday. Should I turn on another light, you all? I know it's a little darker over here. There's not. It's been overcast with lots of rain here and stuff. So give me a second. Let me see if I can. I really don't want to put on like a. I don't want to put on a podcast light, but I'll turn on some more lights because I just don't feel like having anything shining bright as hell in my face. Let's see if that's a little better. Is that a little better? Not really. I tried. Um, so yeah, so you guys can see that that TikTok does what TikTok does. So yeah, so appreciate it, Steph. Whew. All right, so let's circle back around. Um, So let me just say this to the individual that was in the chat that was working really hard to get my attention, and you said that you hoped my niece did not survive, and you said that I was manic. What I would say to you is you're just a sad person. It must really suck to be you. Like to even people that I detest with every fiber of my being, I would never say things like that about them. And I think what you should understand is that your attempt to anger me, right, didn't work. Because what I understand about energy is that that's only coming back to you. I need for you to really understand the way that energy works, okay? When you say horrible things like that to try to get my attention or to try to make me angry, you need to understand that your ill intent, your horrible energy, your bad wishes aren't coming to me. They are coming back to you. And they are coming back to you and the people in your life and the people that are covered by your energy, right? So I sincerely hope that you don't have anyone in your life that is ill. I really hope that you don't, because I hope that they are okay, because your energy may absolutely be covering them. I hope that you understand that that's the way that it works, okay? Um, so you might just want to take a minute and go, I don't know, whatever you do, whether you sage yourself, whether you go like put your feet in the earth, whether you need to take a shower and wash off whatever, if you need to repent, whatever it is that you need to do to fix who you are as a human being, you might want to do that, because you absolutely reap what you sow. You do. You reap what you sow, right? So you are not my karma, and I am not your karma. You are your own karma. So the horrible things that you just said to me this morning, those are coming back to you, hon. And they're coming back to you like threefold, just so that you understand that. They're coming back. So, you know, what a horrible way to be as a person. But anyway, I just wanted to address that so that you could have your moment, knowing that I did, in fact, see what you said. I did see it. I really, it doesn't bother me at all. I just felt like I should share with you what your day is going to be like in your life. Um, yeah. Good morning, Elevate. So, good morning, Boogie Down. Good morning, Macon. So, yeah, it comes home to you. So this is one of the reasons why. So I'm gonna share this with you all. Okay. I have only had like one person um, in the last 5 years, really try to be very threatening to me and whatever, and they reap what they sowed. Right? They're a convicted felon at this point. But other than that, I don't get hateful things in my chat. I don't get unalivings, and the reason why I feel that way, even though people don't agree with me, is because I don't come at people that way. Right? I don't get on this app and look to degrade and to diminish and demean people. Right? I don't do that. And so I think that by and large, that is why much of it doesn't come back to me in that way. Okay. And so, I know that there are a lot of quote unquote leftist content creators that get hateful things in their inboxes. And I know that that happens because you can't control people. What I would say to you is that it doesn't happen to me often. Right. And I think that's simply because of how I really do intend to show up in the world. And so I would just say that maybe as adults, we should all get intentional about how we show up in the world. Okay. Yeah, the old me would have like cussed you out and like whatever, but I ain't got time for all that today. All right. Whew, all right. So deep breaths, everyone. And here's what I'm going to offer this to everybody that's in the chat. Okay. And everybody that is a Danican and that is here all the time and that is protective of this space and of each other and of me, right? I want to remind you of something. Do not let these people get a reaction out of you. They look for and they feed off of your reactions. When they say things in this chat, when they say things and you respond with, "What the fuck is that?" They want that. That's the reaction they are looking for. Stop giving them what they are looking for. You know, the idiot where they tell you, "Good morning, the babe." You know, when they tell you, listen, they're just looking for any attention, even bad attention feeds them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. You need to understand, appreciate it, Alex. I really want people to understand this. Okay. But see, Sin, you're giving them exactly what they want. Sin, that comment. I cannot believe how disgusting some people are. Shame on whoever said that. You are that energy, that outrage. That's what they want. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Packard. They want that reaction for you. But why? It can't throw you off. You are on TikTok every day. It cannot throw you off. It cannot. Not after all this time that we have been on this app. Y'all, social media is not new. We've had social media for a long ass time now. There should be nothing that people say on this app that takes you aback or that makes you freak out or you're just, oh, you can't believe it. Of course you can. Of course you can. What's up, Burke? Hey, Robin. Of course we can believe the shit that people say. We've seen it. We see what leadership is saying. We see what members of Congress are saying. We see what the president of the United States says. We see what people have been saying now for at least a solid decade. Right? Don't respond and react to these people. You're outraged and they could give a flying fuck less. You're outraged and they could give a flying fuck less. Like literally your outrage feeds them. Don't give them the outrage. Your outrage is fuel for their fuckery. Let me say that again. Your outrage is fuel for their fuckery. Stop giving it to them. Okay? All right. Deep breaths, y'all. You're going to be okay. I promise. It's going to be all right. All right. So, I think I said good morning to Robin and Burke. If I didn't, good morning. Yeah, just, you know what I mean? Come on, y'all. If you notice, I'm just at this place where, good morning, Amanda. I'm not fooling with folks. Hey, Wawa. And not in a, like, I don't have time or energy for this, just that I understand, like, those types of people are behaving like children. Worse than middle schoolers, like children. I'm not entertaining that, and I'm damn sure not wasting my energy on it. Okay. Yeah, not doing that. I want to point out a couple of things. Can we just go ahead and start with Texas primaries last night? So, there's a lot of talk, and something that I really want you all to, I'm going to ask a question. All right. Before 2020, okay. Before 2020, appreciate you, Dad. Listen to this question. Before 2020, did the press, national press, cover primary winners? Did we as a country cover primary winners in races, and did anyone care? For the most part. Very rarely. Right. It had to be really big. Exactly. It had to be really big, or it had to be really significant. Most of the time, it was only covered locally, maybe on a state level, depending upon like the congressional race or whatever, right? But primaries were never a thing where tens of millions of dollars were spent. Primaries were never a thing where we looked at a primary performance as an indicator of what the actual general election was going to look like, right? Would we all say that's kind of like a fair assessment? So, things that I want you to think about. Okay, number one, everybody wants to make this big deal about Ken Paxton, who, listen, folks, go read his court cases, go read the evidence against him, go read the allegations. He's a crook, and he's not a good individual, period, right? And people are like, oh, well, he was Trump's pick, and so he beat Corwin, and this is a big deal, right? I want everybody to understand something about this. Number one, Paxton only got 4% of the vote that would be needed to win the general election. Less than 900,000 Republicans voted in that primary. I'm going to say that again. Less than 900 Republicans voted in that primary. And one of the things that I want people to think about is how many people are leaving the Republican Party, and how many people that have been traditional Republicans are no longer voting with that party and not in those primaries. Yeah, I believe it was 885,000. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, folks. Hey, Wasef. Um, there we go. That's what I want. All right, give me 1 second so I can share this with you all. Okay, so there are nearly 19 million voters in the state of Texas. Okay, 19 million voters available in Texas. Only 885,000 people voted. Period. So that was 4% of the total vote available in Texas. So that means GOP turnout was awful. In the Texas Senate primary in March, right, there were more than 2 million ballots cast. Do y'all remember? That was between Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. Okay. And what's crazy is 2 million were cast for Democratic candidates for the Senate, and 1.5 million were cast for Republicans for the Senate. Okay. For this Ken Paxton, it was less than 1 million. So it was just shy of half of the votes that happened in March. So I just want to give a little context and a little bit of clarity so that we understand what voter turnout looks like and why we shouldn't let the media shape. Is this a glimmer? It is a glimmer. It is a glimmer, Big Daddy D. I want you to be careful to not let the media shape your minds around the midterms using primary data, primary turnout, and primary winners. Okay? Don't let them do that. Primaries are something so that a lot of people listen. So let me just say this. If I've been a registered Republican this entire time and I'm still a registered Republican, but I know good and damn well I'm not voting for either Paxton or Corrin, I'm going to vote for a Dem. Am I going to show up for the Republican primary? Do I bother to vote in it? Or do I not care which one of them wins because come November I'm voting for someone different? Right? So it's really important that there are so many different variables that can impact why things are the way they are, that it's important not to give something meaning that you have no way to know. Okay. Good morning, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. So I think what you're trying to communicate, the true player, is when you say it's Democrats who are defecting, that's why Trump won the popular vote. Genius. Okay, so let's break down what I think you're trying to communicate. When you say it's Democrats who are defecting, in order for that to be a true statement, you would have to be able to show a massive switch from Democratic voter turnout to Republican voter turnout, or vice versa. Like, you'd have to be able to show a movement. You'd have to be able to demonstrate a decline in Democratic votes, that while also showing that increase was over on the Republican side and had nothing to do with third-party candidates or non-voters. Right? But you can't do that. Why? Because there were more people. The popular vote was for no one, actually. And I'm going to share with you how I know that. Because Kamala Harris got 75.5 million votes. Donald Trump got 77 million votes. And over 80 million registered voters didn't vote at all in 2024. So, not sure. I don't know anything about you, but just in case you're not aware, 80 is more than both 75 and 77. So the people who won the popular vote were nobody at all. That's who won the popular vote, nobody at all, because more people did not vote at all in 2024 than since then. But now, if we're going to go forward and we're going to look at special elections and elections since the 2024 election, what we do know is that Democrats are actually swinging, Republicans are swinging from like elections are actually swinging. Okay. So this is what that means. So what we know is that Democrats are running at a plus 13. And a great example of this, if you're not aware of it, is if you go look at Tennessee Congressional District 7. That would be a great district for you to look at. So that is a district that has predominantly and historically been Republican, right? And that was a district that had a margin of 24 points, right? And that lead was cut by 13. Okay. Excuse me. Hello, Marinella. So what that shows us is the exact opposite of what you were attempting to say, I think, is that in areas that have been predominantly Republican, it is actually Dems that are winning the special elections. And there's a difference between primaries and actual special elections and general elections. They're not all the same. And right now what we're discussing are primaries, okay? And depending upon how your state is set up to handle primary elections, you may have to be registered for a particular party in order to participate in a primary, okay? Some people don't want to do that. Some people have to change their party affiliation in order to do that, and they don't want to do that because maybe their party affiliation is still the same overall, but they just don't want to vote for the current Republican look at. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think that you're following the math. Why don't you come to the panel so we can talk it through? I sent you an invitation. So when you say, look at the dim leads in New Jersey, governor and presidential elections cut huge. So I just finished going over the presidential elections. And so I'm not sure if you understand that currently we don't have any new presidential election data other than what I just gave you from 2024. Yeah, it's just really important. Like, you can't, just because you say a thing doesn't make it so. I appreciate you guys for gifting and sharing and liking and all of that. I haven't been live for almost a week. So, TikTok is doing what TikTok does. Appreciate you, Penny GF. So good morning, Miss Ella Robinson. Rose, where are you at? The player, are you coming or not coming? Because I'm happy to walk through this with you. And I'm happy to actually pull up any election data that you would like. You want to pull up New Jersey's election data? We can do that. You want to pull up the 2024 presidential election data? We can do that. No, you weren't. So, Micah, over the weekend, I was live on some other people's panels. And then Mila graduated from pre-K yesterday. So I was with my girl all day yesterday. And then today I was going to be live earlier, but my niece had a significant seizure. What's up, Ja? Appreciate you. I saw your text back. I'm going to message you back as well. So I think what we can gather is by his unwillingness to get on the panel that he either is a little disingenuous in his claims and isn't really looking to actually have a real conversation around election data, right? Or doesn't feel comfortable enough in their knowledge to get on the panel, right? Yeah, she did. So super proud of her. Appreciate it, Micah. Yeah, she'll be okay. She just has, this was when my great niece called me, my niece was having trouble even forming sentences. If you know anything about significant epilepsy and seizures, that time period directly after a seizure can be a little scary, especially when they're not able to kind of, like, everything is very cloudy and confused and they can't formulate sentences and those types of things. So yeah, it can be really difficult. And this one was just, yeah, it was a little significant. So, okay. So here's what I will do for, yeah, very disorienting, 100%. So here's what I will do, just because I like to be helpful that way, because I do like to be helpful. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna balance family with you guys today. My daughter just messaged me. She's at my niece's house making her soup. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right. Okay, so if I were to look at New Jersey's data, here's what I know specifically about the state of New Jersey. And this is where I'm a little bit different than other people. Okay. So when I actually talk about election data, it's because I've taken the time to go look at the election data, and pull the information up for people. Appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate you. So when I look at Atlantic, Cumberland, Gloucester, Hunterdon, Morris, Passaic, and Somerset, those counties in New Jersey, which, let me move my water. Those 7 counties in New Jersey, for the majority of the last 5 years, have always had margins of 10% or less. And what's significant about that is it brings you looking at a couple of different House seats. It has you looking at House Seat 2. It also has you looking at House District 7, thanks within one heart, and also 11. Okay, so those are the three. It says that it did already, Edith. There you go. It did it. So those are going to be the House districts that we're looking at kind of the most, because those are the districts that those counties share in common. So if I look at Atlantic, Cumberland, and part of Gloucester, right, Gloucester, then those 3 counties are all in House District 2. And if you aren't familiar with those, this is what you can do. Sorry, I was looking at a notice that just came across. And then Hunterdon, and just so that everyone is very clear about those, if I were to look at, and it's only a small part of Gloucester, which is part of the things that irritates me about the way that they, do you all want to see how gerrymandering can impact certain things? Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen over here with you guys, and then I'm going to show you all something over here. You got to look at the way that they choose. Sorry, hold on. There it is. All right. So TikTok, let me show you guys. I'm going to pull you right here. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to turn my screen around a second. Oh, not me over here. I'm doing stuff in my spreadsheet, but yes. Okay, so if you look, let me pull this down here just a little bit so that y'all can see. Okay, perfect. So you see how I'm looking at Atlantic, Cumberland, and Gloucester, these 3 counties right here? If you look, I don't have this name twice, but I could. So this one county has been divided up into 2 districts, into 2 congressional districts. It's District 1 and District 2. Do y'all see that? And what's crazy is look at the way that it was cut. This small little bit, this small 30,000 votes right here that's part of Gloucester County for District 2. Out of that, only 2,000 of it is Democratic, while almost 26,000 of it is Republican. Do you see how they carved out one little section of this county and added it to District 2 in order to give it an advantage, in order to kind of pad that district a little bit? Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So these are the types of things that you'll see when you look at how they carve out counties and how they set these district lines and how, and what that looks like in real time, like in real life. It's really crazy. Now, District 1, this part of the county, look how even it is. It's damn near 50-50. Y'all see that? Plus the third party. Crazy, right? If you look at Morris, this is Morris as well, right? 11 and 7. They're pretty similar, pretty close, right? But you can see when these significant places jump out here, they're grabbing a little part of a county. And it's a specific, right? It's classic gerrymandering, exactly. And so that's why I wanted to show you all what it looks like and how you can see it when you're actually looking at election data. So when I look at the easiest place for me to see it is when I'm looking at House districts, like I am right here, right? Because you'll notice the House districts change from one to the other, from one year to the next. So just so everybody kind of understands what it looks like when you're looking at how the gerrymandering, like this is Passaic. Passaic County is broken up into 3 different districts, which is, I mean, it's 500,000 people, so I get that. But it's how it's cut up, it's how it's divided that absolutely matters. And this is the argument that you see taking place right now across the board, across the country. No, this spreadsheet is absolutely not in my link tree. This is my own personal Excel spreadsheet where I went through 5 years of election data for 12 different states and for every county in those states that had margins of 12% or less. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. So this spreadsheet is not, it's not in there. Hey, Amy. But is everybody following me what I'm saying? Yeah, girl, no. So let me just, I feel like I give people access to so much information and I do so much research and I throw it all in that link tree and I put it all in that Google Drive and all of that. But yeah, this right here, the election data stuff, nope. Nope, it is not. It is not out there. Just so people can just, at some point, yeah, the short answer is no, it's not. That's the short answer. How about that? What's up, Don Juan? Hold on, I'm trying to move this around. Because I just want people to be able to know kind of what this stuff looks like in real action when they are making up your districts and your and things like that, because it matters. And if you don't believe that it's intentional, all you have to do is go look at the numbers. All you have to go do is look at what Jedi, I have done data like this since 2023. Okay. And ever since I started doing data like this in 2023, I've had people say to me that the DNC should be doing something similar. I don't know what the DNC does because I've never worked for the DNC. So I can't speak to what they do or don't do. But what I will say is I just approach things from, okay, so let me just say this. I'm not a political pundit, right? I'm not somebody who's been in campaigns and in politics my whole life. So the way that my brain looks at elections and election data is a little bit different. Hey, Pin 1010, right? And so this is the way that my brain looks at elections and election data. I'll share with you all a little bit about how I got started doing this. Okay. So, I was doing some stuff for Matt Hildreth over at Rural Organizing, right? And they had been doing a project called, what the fuck was it called? It was the top 100 rural counties for power building in 2024. Okay. So that was a project that they had some folks that they were working on. And it was, how can we look at, yeah, definitely not. And so this was about how can they find the top rural counties across the country where they can have massive impacts on elections. And so I was asked to take a look at their spreadsheet that they had initially. And here's what their spreadsheet had initially. Their spreadsheet had counties on it where, let's say, for example, there had been a successful climate campaign, or there had been a successful, what other kind of liberal or leftist thing that you can think of, like climate change and whatever, right? Wherever something left leaning had been successful, they had identified that county, and their reasoning for identifying that county was because this leftist campaign was successful. Now, the reason why I did not believe that that was a strong strategy was, and I'm going to give you this as an example. So if I think about upstate New York, okay, upstate New York is going to be very environmental friendly. It's going to be very climate friendly. Why? Because that's its tourism. Its revenue is generated by people coming to ski, by people coming to, fish and be in their boats and to do all of those different types of things throughout the year, right? So even though I might be in upstate New York, even though I might be Republican, even though I might be conservative, I'm going to get behind policies that are good for the environment because that's what generates my revenue. So what I know is that being climate friendly does not always equal being progressive. If being climate friendly is what funds my bank accounts, right? There are going to be some people that are absolute conservatives that are concerned about the environment. So for me, when I looked at that strategy as to how they were picking the counties, it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, to me, that's correlation, but not causation, right? Y'all follow me? Correlation, not causation. And what I had been doing a couple of months before that was I had actually been interviewing people that had either run campaigns or that had been part of different campaigns, that had volunteered on campaigns. And I had been asking them for their feedback about their experiences in that year, in 2022. And I happened to speak with some folks in upstate New York, and they said the very thing that I'm just talking about. Okay. So what I decided to do was go at it from simply put, from a numbers perspective. I just wanted to look at the counties, and I wanted to see the counties that had the smallest margins. And then I wanted to see what seats those counties had in common, because to me, that was the fastest and shortest route to building power. If I have a county that has a margin of 10% or less, 8% or less, 4% or less, okay? And that county always has a low margin, whether that means it's barely blue or barely red, I don't really care. If the margin is small, that means anybody can go after that county and be able to build significant power, right? So rather than go, ooh, I want this seat, we need to win this seat. Well, what if winning that seat based on the numbers isn't doable, right? I might look at Colorado and be like, yes, I want to get Lauren Boebert the fuck out of Congress. But if the data and the numbers don't support that, then I'm just beating my head against the wall, and I'm wasting money in places where it's not going to make a difference. And too often what I see in the political world is I see people throwing dollars after politicians, right? Instead of putting dollars in behind the people, right? So what I wanted to do was look and say, okay, so what are the people doing, and how are the people showing up, and what does the vote look like? And then it had to become multi-tiered. Good morning, CJ. It had to become multi-tiered. Okay. So it wasn't just about which counties had margins of 10% or less. The next thing that you wanted to look at, right, was you wanted to look at and say, okay, so if you have these counties that have margins of 10% or less, the next step is to say, okay, so what seats do those counties have in common? The next thing that you also want to consider is how many registered voters are in those counties. How many of those registered voters voted third party? How many of those registered voters didn't vote at all? And then you also needed to look at, okay, if I have a high number, a high percentage of registered voters, is that because I live in a state where voter registration is automatic? Or do they actually have to choose? Do they have to opt into voting? So, do you understand? All of those things indicate a different level of engagement in the voting process. Okay. So that is what took me down this path in terms of going, all right, so if I'm going to look at like where it really matters, what does that look like? And I can show you all what that data, give me 1 second. I'm going to show you what that looked like when I did it. Okay. Mr. Nice Guy, if you would like to, are you trying to offer me a job? I saw you express something about whether or not I'm employed. Good morning, Courage to Walk. Do you have a business? I mean, because if you do and you're looking for people, I would need to know about your business to see if it's even something I would recommend for people. Okay. I know, Merlot. That's why I said what I said the way I said it. I am very aware. I am very aware. That's why I said what I said the way that I said it. Okay, so let me show you guys. Hi, so hot. Let me show you all. Okay, so where is your, give me one moment. You guys want to see this? I don't share this too much, but I'll share. So this is another spreadsheet that I did a number of years ago, and I'm going to share it with you and why I did it the way that I did it. So okay, here we go. Hey, Leslie. All right, so let me show you all something. So this is literally, once again, this is my personal Google Drive. And as you can see down here at the bottom, this is Texas, Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, Alaska, Maine, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Ohio, Montana, Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, South Carolina, New York, Florida, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So I did data for all 17, I think it's 17 states. Okay. And this is what the raw data looked like, right? So when I first started out, remember, this was specifically a focus on rural counties. So I first started looking at these rural counties. Okay. And what did they look like and what were their margins? And then I wanted to see, okay, so what percentage of the counties had margins of 5% or less, 10% or less, and total number of 10% or less in each of the presidential, gubernatorial, Senate, and House races. And then I did this going all the way back, and you can see this is presidential. And I went all the way through. Y'all follow me? Y'all see? And then I looked at, okay, well, what are the registered number of voters? How many were active? How many were inactive? How many were available to vote? Are we losing voters? Are we increasing in voters? All of this was taken into account. And I did this, like I said, for about 17 different states. And so let me show you what that looks like. So this was Wisconsin. So in 2020, Wisconsin had less than a 1% difference. And I can show you that difference between Dems and Republicans. It was 20,682 vote difference. Well, in just these counties in Wisconsin, Crawford, Dunn, Grant, Jackson, Pierce, Portage, Trempealeau, and Vernon, right? Then there were 16,628 registered voters that didn't vote in the presidential election in 2020. So that was 80% of the vote difference with just these counties in Wisconsin. Okay. And so then I looked at that 2022 House results, and it was less than 4% difference. Okay. And then it was 11,766 vote difference. In just these counties in Wisconsin, there was 49,712 registered voters that didn't vote. Guys, that was 400% of what was needed to flip District 3. Period. Right? And so what I did was I showed, based on the data and the data only, where could you build power? Could you build power because of the presidential, the Senate, or the House? And that varied from each state to the next. And for some states, it was only presidential. In some states, it was presidential and Senate. States like Pennsylvania, it was presidential, the Senate, and the House district. And it was specifically House District 8. Okay. So what I do, and this is just firmly what I believe that when you look at the data and not political pundits and not people trying to be Miss Cleo when it comes to fucking politics, which is just wild to me. Like, to me, being Miss Cleo in politics is like, y'all ever see this movie with Gene Hackman? Oh my God, what's his name? I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. Runaway Jury. Do y'all know the movie I'm talking about? Gene Hackman and whatever the dude's name is. Runaway Jury. You know that? No, it's a great movie. You should see it. But Gene Hackman is basically the guy who John Cusack. Thank you, John Cusack. That's who it is. Nope, not Alec Baldwin. It's John Cusack and Gene Hackman. And basically they are trying to determine what a jury is or isn't going to do. And to me, that's like trying to be a political pundit, trying to guess what a jury is going to do based on how they behave in the box, based on, how they, what's going on in their own personal lives and whether they're paying attention or whether they're doodling and whether they're engaged or whether they're not. And John Cusack's position is when you strip away all the nonsense and you allow them to just focus on the evidence, the juries they'll get it right. And I think the same is true about politics. I believe that if you strip away the nonsense and you strip away the culture wars and you strip away the party rhetoric, right, people will get it right. But you have to get to this place where you can strip away that. And then you have to be talking to the people that are either actively engaged in the process or people that wanted to be engaged at one point in time and have somehow just like lost interest or become apathetic in the voting process. Or you have to inspire people and motivate people, appreciate UB Action, and give them a reason to participate in the process moving forward. It's one of those three things. Okay. And so what I believe is the smartest, most effective way to do that is to do it going after the lowest hanging fruit first. Okay. Lowest hanging fruit first for me are counties with margins of 10% or less. People that are the lowest hanging fruit, they are people that are already registered to vote and that actively register to vote. So if you live in a state where voter registration is automatic, your voter registration numbers are not an indicator as to the level of engagement that people have in the voting process. It's just not true. It's not the case. So when you go back to that spreadsheet that I was just talking about, right? If I look at Michigan, it's really, really crazy, but I can show you Benzie County in Michigan in 2023, 93% voter registration. Clinton, 71%. Eaton, 81%. Emmett, 89%. Grand Traverse, 86%. Isabella, 72%. Leelanau, 96%. Manistee, 86%. So what we know for sure in these counties in Michigan is that it wasn't about people not being registered to vote. So then the next question that I ask people in Michigan is, in your state, do you automatically get registered to vote when you turn 18 or when you get an ID? Or is it something that you have to actually check a box? Now you might say to me, why is this important? Well, it matters in terms of if I'm going to coordinate, and I'm not, but if I was, right? I love Michiganders Dolphin, by the way. Um, if I were going to coordinate an organizing effort in Michigan, right? Here's what I would look at. I would be looking at specifically, I would be looking at two things. How would I put together my effort? So if I'm in a place where voter registration is automatic and voter turnout is low, then the whole intention the whole focus has to be on conversations, community, and connection, because the trouble isn't getting people to vote or getting people registered to vote, it's getting them to actually go vote. Okay. So if I live in a place where, for example, if I'm in North Carolina and I look at those same numbers, and I look at Anson, 71% registered to vote, Granville, 65%, Jackson, 67%, Martin, 71%, Nash, 70%, right? Those are pretty high voter registration numbers. But what does voter turnout look like? I can absolutely floor some of you guys with voter turnout numbers. And for me, so do you know what? They called me crazy. In 2023, you all, I started talking about the state of South Carolina. They thought I was nuts because in 2023, what's up, Terry? In 2023, I was talking about South Carolina. And I believe that South Carolina was going to be a new turning point when it came to elections. And I believe that for several reasons. Number one, I believe that because we were switching. The kickoff for politics was switching from New Hampshire to South Carolina. I also believe that based on the numbers, I was flabbergasted. So don't think about South Carolina today. I want you all to think about South Carolina in 2023. Okay. Think about the state of South Carolina in 2023. And if you were going to guess as to how many counties in the state of South Carolina had margins of 10% or less for the majority of the last 3 years. I know, find out. What would you all guess? Take a guess. If Michigan had 16, how many counties would you think that South Carolina had that were margins of 10% or less? Because most people think of South Carolina as ruby red. What would you all think? You guys are really close. Yep, Bufani, 10. 10. 10 counties. 10 counties in the state of South Carolina had margins of 10% or less. Holy crap. And I saw that and I was like, holy shit. Well, hold on a second. Now, I want you to also remember that the work that I was doing specifically was focused on rural counties. So it wasn't just 10 counties, it was 10 rural counties. Don't people always assume that the South and rural counties are going to be red? But the data was telling me different. The data was telling me that in the South and even in rural communities, margins were slim. Right? So it didn't matter to me what political pundits were saying. I was like this, la 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 la. It didn't matter to me what the media was saying because I was like la 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 la, and they were like, Dani, South Carolina, really? And I was like, yes, yes, South Carolina, damn it, literally. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And then yet South Carolina just sent their Senate back off into Never Never Land and said, no, I don't think we will gerrymander our maps for the midterms. Thank you very much. But it was one of those things. Okay. So I'll show you what my South Carolina work looked like back in 2020, 2022, 2023. Had to remember what year I was doing this. Okay, so let me show you. Yeah, I know, Marky, I know. Okay, so Oh, wait, I didn't show you guys over here. So let me show, hold on, guys. I have, as you all know, 1,000 tabs. Good morning, Gary. Carol, not sure. I think Carol, right? Okay, so let me show you. So this was my spreadsheet from way back then. Okay, so this was 3 years ago. And you see me going into 2020, 2020 Senate, 2022 House, 2022 governors, Senate, and then House again, right? And then I was looking at registered voters, whether they were increasing, whether they were decreasing, what was happening in South Carolina. And then I was making these little bitty notes to myself. I was um, I was making all these notes, like where can it be flipped? Where is it close? Where can we do different things with it? Y'all see my little notes out here to myself. And so what I was doing was I was looking at a couple things and I was saying, okay, well, listen, if, for example, if I had Democratic votes, so this is Calhoun County, right? And it was 3,975, and there were 4,201 Republican votes, and 128 people voted third party. If we got these 128 people that voted third party to vote Democratic, then you'd only need 98 and you could flip this county. And it would go from a currently red county to a blue county. See that? And so this was me crunching the numbers, going through all of the Secretary of State's websites and pulling all the voting data and looking at voter turnout and looking at, like the population versus the number of people registered. But then I also wanted to look at the actual voter turnout. So I want to show you what voter registration data looked like for South Carolina. Okay. And so these were the populations of these counties. And this was the numbers of people that were registered to vote. And as you can see, if I show you over here, the registered to vote numbers are pretty high. You got anywhere from right at 60 to what, 75%. There's room for improvement, but they're pretty decent. The problem was actual voter turnout. In the presidential election, the highest voter turnout was 60%. Y'all, that's crazy. In a presidential election, 60% voter turnout was the highest. In gubernatorial elections, look, 23% came out to vote for the gubernatorial election in Marlboro County. It's crazy. So what I was finding is that a lot of times what they thought were red states were non-voting states, right? Tennessee, same thing. If I look at Tennessee, 21% voted in Hardeman County, 17% voter turnout in Montgomery County. Y'all, Montgomery is a population of 230,000 people. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Montgomery County, Tennessee, right? Rutherford County, Tennessee. Are you kidding me right now? Rutherford County, Tennessee has a population of 350,000, and 20,000 people actually came out to vote in the 2022 gubernatorial election, right? So what we know is that it's not necessarily that they're red states, it's that they're non-voting states. So you have to talk about, why are people not voting? Why are people not voting? Why have people become apathetic to voting? Why have people gotten frustrated with voting? Why are people disengaging from the process? And then how do we have conversations around those things? And I actually believe that in the South and in a lot of places that people would think are quote unquote traditionally Republican is where a lot of the ground can be gained. And it's not that yeah, but this was even in presidential elections, which is why I was showing that first, right? So follow me. So the other part of this was, there's many different reasons, guys. Listen, all of this is true. Listen to you guys' answers. Somebody said they see the political system is rigged. That's true. Some do. They're uninformed. That's true. Some are. Propaganda. That's true, right? Jaded and angry. That's true. It's not just one reason. Coco, losing hope in this country. That's true. It's not just one reason. It's not just one reason. And that is why having these conversations in these communities, I wouldn't go back no damn decade. No. So listen, Island Boy, to me, that wasn't the issue, because what I was focused on was what was happening immediate, because I was looking at the data on how to build power for 2024. 2008 and 2012 were not going to tell me about the current issues of 2023 and 2024, right? And there's too many other factors at play. So one of the mistakes that I believe political pundits make is I believe that they like to compare one set of numbers to another, and then they like to draw these conclusions about why a thing is so. But the reality is there's too many factors, right? There's too many factors. Whether it's because Barack Obama made people feel hopeful, whether it's because he was the first black president, whether it's because we were recovering from the 2008 economic drop or failure, right? I think there's too many reasons, right? What I believe more than anything is that we have to stop. Listen, the data tells us where to go. The data tells us who to talk to. But it's the people that have to give us their why. To assume that the data can tell you why is crazy. The data can't tell you the why. Only people can do that. And what we have right now is a political system that uses a lot of fucking data and no real conversations with people. They want to microwave elections and believe that they're going to turn out to represent the people, and they don't. So to me, and there will be people that disagree with me, and that's fine, because like I said, I'm not a political pundit, right? But in my humble ass opinion, this whole conversation around young people versus old people is just another effort to divide people. Because I know people that are in their 80s that are badass and just as young at heart as they ever have been. And I know people that are 20 years old that don't know shit and need to just shut up and sit the fuck down. Acting as if age alone is an indicator of wisdom or expertise or integrity is just wild to me. It is another way to divide people. I'm just not here for the ageism. Okay, I'm just not. I think it is great that what happened in what happened in Hungary had the passion and the movement behind a bunch of young people, but that doesn't mean that it requires young people in the U.S. to do the same thing. It doesn't matter that it has to be the same thing. It doesn't. No, I haven't seen the dude in California. But do you understand what I'm saying? I think we began to focus on this minutia that isn't indicative of where we actually desire to go. So y'all know that I like Jessica Nurek. I love her. She's brilliant. She's amazing. She knows her shit. She's an expert. When you want to talk to someone or when you want to listen to someone who knows what they're talking about when it comes to health and nutrition, Dr. Jessica Nurek is the way to go. 100%. Got it? She said something though. She was playing a clip. She was stitching some influencer that was talking about, I don't even know, whatever the fuck they were reading on the back of a bag of food or something, right? And this person was talking about, I can't even pronounce half the stuff, and they were just da 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 da. And she said, "Do you know what?" She said, "What's so crazy is, in rare circumstances, this one thing could be a thing that implements this thing. However, that is not the vast majority, and it's definitely not where our focus needs to be, right?" She said, "Listen, you can only say eat your fruits and vegetables and burn more calories than you take in and drink enough water and get good sleep for so long until you have to start coming up with other shit to try to get people to be good to their bodies and to have people start to be focused on the minutia and the things that don't really matter and that don't impact it. It's very simple. Sleep, get enough sleep, drink water, eat your fruits and vegetables, avoid your trans fats, and burn more calories than you take in. And 9 times out of 10, you will be healthy. But we don't want to do that, do we? No, we want to talk about the latest, whatever. I don't know. Should you fast 14 hours or 16 hours or 9 hours? Or should you first fast if you're a male or a female? Or should you do this supplement? Or should you do this bead and this gummy and this? We are we are a society that looks for the quick fixes, and we don't realize we have been on this very long, very detailed road to fuckery that we're at right now. And we think that it's going to be some microwave solution that fixes it. And that's not how it works. Thank you, Scotty. Does that make sense? I started looking at some of the other spaces on the apps. And there are, and I appreciate the smart bean, there are lots of spaces with 1,000 people in them, 2,000 people in them, day in and day out. And there's lots of name calling, and there's lots of hateful rhetoric, and what I know is that the algorithm loves it. The algorithm loves it. They love videos where we demean each other, where we talk down to each other. They love the stitches and the arguments and the name calling and the this and the that, and it is meant to boost that. But let me also say this. You all train the algorithm. Here's what I know about rich people. Okay. Rich people, which means they go where the money is. And if human beings stopped disengaging with all of that fuckery and rhetoric, even if it comes with good information sometimes, and I don't mean disengage with it all the time, because sometimes you have to get into those spaces just to interject a different voice. At least that's why I come into those spaces sometimes, right? I'll pop into those spaces and participate to interject and introduce something different, right? But it's really, really important that that we start taking responsibility for what the algorithm delivers. If it is on your feed, it is because the algorithm believes that it's what you want to see. Your algorithm, the majority of it, not all of it, but the majority of your algorithm is a reflection of the majority of you. Right, Veronica. And that's the only time. And then even then when I get done, I have to go, ugh, right? Hey, I'm all. Yeah. So even after that, you know what I mean? In a minute, I have to kind of disengage because it can be a lot. Well, there you go, dolphin. So it's just a thought process. Oh, I love that, Carla. See, I always leave and then I don't know what's said. It doesn't take it, to be honest, right? Sometimes it doesn't. But it's really important, folks, that I don't know if you all realize it's June. I had this little thought process in the last couple of days. It's June, July, August, September, October. That's all we have. We have 5 months. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but it feels slightly like a little bit. And it's one of the reasons why when I went live today, I decided I just wanted to talk about election stuff. And I do want to talk about the other points of it and the intersectionalities of it, right? but I want to talk about the stuff that actually matters. And I want to have conversations with people who want to talk about things that actually matter, right? So, Dayglow, one of the things that I don't do words like afraid or scared or fearful or worried, because that is such a strong energy to put out. Um, and I have zero desire to put that energy out. I can't do it. I can be concerned about things. I can be aware about things. I can be, whatever. And to be quite frank, I'm not scared of November. I'm not. You know what I mean? How do you choose which forms are effective? So, Marky, for me, and I can only speak for me, I have to be, I have to be, I have to be guided to be in that space. I have to have a, like, okay, so let me just say this. There are people that I like as people, and I believe that they desire the right things. I believe that there are people who really want what's best for the majority of people. I also know that even some of those people do it in the worst of ways. I just don't think that you're effective. Well, it depends on what your goal is. Let me not say that. Let me not say that. I personally don't think that I can be effective with what I desire to do by name calling all the time. Even if I'm name calling Mike Johnson, who I think is a horrible person. Like, I'm just going to be really, really frank. I believe that the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is not a good person. I believe that he's a spiritually dangerous person. I believe that his ideology around the Seven Mountain Mandate and around the flag that he flies, the Appeal to Heaven flag, I believe him to be a dangerous individual. And what makes him significantly dangerous is that he believes a lot of what he's doing is in the name of God. And those people are even more dangerous than you could think of, right? And so, and I can believe all of those things about him. I also, if I believe that I am my own karma, listen, y'all, if I believe that I am my own karma, what do I get from constantly, consistently calling him names or saying horrible things or whatever? Do you see what I'm saying? What do I get from that? What's the benefit? Because to me, it's bad things. It doesn't help. You know, how many of you all have seen this? There's a clip going around right now of a Livingstone pastor who's talking about Paula White. Have you all seen this video that people are playing everywhere? Do y'all know who I'm talking about? You have? No and yes, no and yes. Okay. So there's this dude, he's a Livingstone pastor, preacher, and he's talking about Paula White. And if you don't know who Paula White is, so like I know Paula White from like know her. I don't mean know her personally, but I remember when Paula White was first coming on to the prosperity Christian scene. I remember when Paula White was coming up under TD Jakes, when she made her millions off the backs of the Black and brown community. Her church now is all old white people, right? But back in the day, that was her. If you went to a, if you all remember when TD Jakes was big with his Woman Thou Art Loosed, y'all remember? Do y'all remember Woman Thou Art Loosed? There's movies and books and conferences. I was at the one in Atlanta in 2005 when they were so godly, they like ran over the barricades and trampled my ass, which is why they put me in VIP. That I was there. So, okay, so all right, so let's talk for a second. Yeah, so listen, remember I told you all, I know what it is like to be born and raised neck deep in church. I know what it is like to be all of that, y'all, all of that. My children, my daughters will laugh now and talk about the things that we did not like. When I say that, and maybe this is one of the things that allows me to have the compassion that I have for certain groups of people. It's because I know what it is to be similar to them. Hey, Hussein. You follow me? Yeah, Juanita Bynum was there asking for $1,000 check. I know, Barbara. I know. Do you not remember Juanita Bynum asking people if they were able to sow a seed of $1,000? I remember. I remember. I'm chuckling right now, but this is for real, right? Um, Listen, she's still doing it. See, Amanda, I don't know what she's doing now because I've never seen. I don't watch her anymore or any of them. But when I say I'm the girl who's been to a TD Jakes, Apollo White, Juanita Bynum, a Creflo Dollar, a Benny Hinn, a you name it. So this is, listen. I don't know why y'all still don't get this. When I tell y'all that I was born neck deep in church, right? I deconstructed before it was cool. Listen, I deconstructed when I thought I was going to hell for deconstructing. I've never liked Jamal Bryant's ass. Real talk. He just, there's something about him that don't sit right with me. He just, I don't know. Jamal Bryant's his ass ain't never sat right with me. Right, they are, but it's what I can see now. So listen, I want you all to think about something. We talk about, y'all know how. Listen, Bishop Eddie Long with them bikers, with what we now know, and them biker shorts, right? I'm just saying. Okay, but so listen to me. I want you all to think about this conversation that we are having right now. Okay? How many of you all grew up in these types of environments and we believed these types of environments because it's what we were raised in, and there was something in us that needed. Yep, Bishop Paul Falk. Was that the Jerry Curl Bishop? Hey, Marilyn. Yes, yes, I said Jerry Curl Bishop. Yes. Okay, so listen. Um, I want you all to just sit with this for a minute. There was something in us that needed to believe. There was something in us that needed to believe in all of that because it was our connection for whatever reason to whatever we needed. Yeah, listen, Amanda, listen, we go all the way back to Oral Roberts, to Jimmy Swaggart. I never liked Tammy Faye though. Them eyelashes just did me in. I couldn't, I don't know, it wasn't my thing. Joyce Myers, when she looked like Joyce Myers. And I don't hate on anybody for getting their work done. She just don't look the same to me. Something has happened. But yes, right? All the things. And so I want to offer you all this though, right? I want to offer you all this. Now you know how people believe in Donald Trump. You do know. When you say you don't know how people believe in him, yes, you do. Yes, Rob Parsley camp. Didn't he go to the camp? What was his camp called, y'all? What was his camp? What was his camp, y'all? Y'all remember what I'm talking about? So, what I want you to do, right? Right. I never believed in Trump either, babyface, but the conversation that I'm having is the point that I am making is that it's the same concept. It's the same experience. Okay? So look, you had to breathe that one in. Yeah. And so there are things that I think about now. There are things that I think about now, you all, that it's just like, what year did I reconstruct? I don't know that it was like a year for me. It was a progression. Dominion. See, Barbara, you know it. Yes. Yes, Dominion. Dominion camp. Girl, yes. So here's the thing though. So I don't think that it was like a year. Like for me, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to deconstruct. That's not what it is. Like alaikum salam abu saraj. So for me, it wasn't like, oh, I think I'm gonna deconstruct this year. No. It was like so real talk, for me to get to the place where I could deconstruct my faith, for me to get to that place, my whole ass life had to pretty much fall apart. Right? Um and I think the beginning, so, and it's funny when we say like what triggered it or what the beginning was. I think these things oftentimes begin before we even know they're happening, right? It's kind of like that, the revolution will not be televised thing. It's already happening before you know it's happening. The deconstruction, the awareness, the red flags, that subconscious is already happening, right? And then by the time you realize it, you are already well into the process. And the reason I believe that with every fiber of my being is because if you consciously knew you were deconstructing when you were deconstructing, you probably would have been scared shitless and stopped, especially if you were raised like me in the whole like fire and brimstone, you're going to hell kind of thing. Like, and I mean, it was the okay, but what if I'm right? 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 And so for me, it wasn't. And I'm just going to, so like, I just believe in being transparent. I just believe in being transparent, folks. So let me just say this to you all. Um, for me, there is 100% a source, a higher power, a spirit, whatever you want to call it. For me, there is something sacred for me. Whatever name you give it is between you and whoever, whatever you got going on. Got it? But for me, I've always felt connected to something. Could no, holy smokes, I could not run for president. But for me, I've always felt connected to it. Okay. I've always felt even as a kid, even as a young kid, all my friends could have hung out and been at the teen club the night before, and I could be in the choir box on Sunday morning and have to take my ass to the altar. I ain't really done nothing horrible. And it's funny now because, so let me just tell y'all this. So, like, it's funny now because I look back and I think, and this is again my personal experience, but I'm just like, the church is responsible. The church should be paying for everybody's therapy. And the reason I say that is we grew up singing songs about how horrible we were. And then we're surprised when we have low self esteem. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. We have 6-year-old children singing that they are wretches. But then we wonder why they don't believe they're good enough. You are a sinner saved by grace. Without Jesus, you ain't shit. That's what we tell. That's what we tell. That's what we tell our babies. You see y'all laughing because it's literally what we tell. That's what we tell them, right? And then we wonder why they don't believe in themselves. We wonder why they don't have faith in their abilities. We wonder why they don't know that they are perfect exactly like they are. We wonder why. You know what I'm saying? Right, Amanda. Always. I'm bringing up buried stuff. I'm just saying, right? And so it's and so for me, I don't and let me just say this. Um how many of you guys, so let me ask you this. How many of you all have actually seen the documentary Pray Away? How many of you guys have watched Pray Away on Netflix? So, Marilyn, I don't believe the church has changed. The church that I'm talking about has been the church my whole life. Yes, we gonna get there, Mel. You got it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna address that, Marilyn, as well. You've watched it. Okay, so listen. So I highly recommend that everyone watch this documentary on. I've watched it a couple of times too, Jen the Vet. It is on Netflix. It's called Pray Away. And it's got some of the most prominent people. You all remember there was a time where there was this thing about pray away the gay, right? And there were all these camps, and then there were these psychiatrists, and there were all of these there were all of the, like, this was the, it was the movement, and there were churches that teamed up with these particular psychiatrists, and they and these were men and women that said that they were gay, and all of a sudden they were healed. They had been delivered. Y'all remember him? Yes, they underwent shock treatments. They underwent all types of things, right? And these people are on. See, you know who I was talking about. But so listen, these people are sharing with you their real experience of what really happened to them and what they were put through. Conversion therapy, 100%. Good morning, Figueroa. And it's really important that, like, when I talk about, I just think, okay, and this is where some people have a hard time with some of the stuff that I say, and that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So let me pause. So Marilyn said, hey, Irvette, Marilyn said, the church has changed and God is being used to as a thing to make us feel bad. And that's not my personal experience. At over 50 years of age, to me, the church has always been the same, and everything I've ever known the church to be has always been the same. And it's always been utilized to make us feel bad about who we are, unless we are doing exactly what the church says we should be doing. Not what God says or what Jesus says, rather, but whatever the church's interpretation of that was. And what's so crazy is the churches don't even agree. That's why there's 50, 1,100 daggone denominations, because the church don't even agree, right? I'm just saying. And, you know, hold on, y'all. Y'all got me. I didn't even know we was going to church today. I don't know. First, I don't know. All I know is I was looking at spreadsheets. Next thing you know, I'm talking about Jesus in church. all of a sudden, we talking about Jesus. The Lord has showed up. And here's the thing. As with all things, there are some things that are good. right? I think that for me, a lot of what was good wasn't because of the church itself or because of the pastor itself, right? What the goodness that I have that I still have with me today that came out of growing up in the church and in that environment. Yes, exactly. Beach bum wannabe is different, right? Oh, see, yeah. So Auntie Tinker says I only went to church for the candy on the bus. Number one, we didn't have no candy on the bus. Are you kidding? No, Deacon Tom is not for you having your little butterscotch and your peppermint stuck on the church van seats. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. You can keep that candy and go home with it. You can unwrap it when you get off the bus, but we're not eating no candy on the church bus. Uh-uh. Right. Oh no, I went to black churches, so you know. Now vacation Bible school, we all kind of stuff, right? Yes, Rachel, it's the community. And definitely not the sanctuary. Absolutely not, Amanda, in the sanctuary. Ooh. Oh my goodness. But here's the thing. I think that because what? Okay. Yeah. But I think that it's because of how I grew up that it gives me the ability to, I don't know, to be more understanding, hey Jamel, or to be more whatever for other people's experience and how they're going and how they're getting there and how they're getting through, right? So like, um, I'm just saying, how many of you all you deconstructed at the age of 59 when you met me? Don't blame me now, Grammy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Grammy said she deconstructed at the age of 59 when she met me. Listen, you ain't sending me to hell. I'm just kidding. I was literally just kidding. I literally was just kidding. Um, but it absolutely is the deconstructing that we all have to do, right? Um, and the parts of, and Rachel, you hit it on the nose a minute ago. The parts of church that have stuck with me today that still make me feel like, that make me still smile and that make me laugh and whatever, that's the community part of it. That's the community part of church. That's the community part of the culture of church, right? And then I think about James Baldwin when he says, you know, you want to see the most segregated hour in America. It's high noon on Sunday, right? It's high noon on Sunday because even in that we are segregated. Even in that we are different. Even in that we are not together, supposedly under the same God, supposedly worshiping the same Christ, following the same Christ, right? What's high noon? Literally noon, 12 o'clock in the day. That's some shit that old black people say. High noon on Sunday. That's church. That's when everybody go to church. The difference is in white church that they go to church at high noon on Sunday and they are out by high 1 p.m. on Sunday. When black folk go to church and we are there at high noon on Sunday, we there at late noon at night. Yeah, that's country folk talk. Yes. High noon on Sunday. Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, so Cheryl, when you say you were there from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., that's like just regular church service for us. So Sunday school would start at 9 a.m., right? And then after Sunday school, then you had regular church service. You were out at regular church service about 12:30, 1 o'clock, but that was just so you could eat. And then once you ate, then you came back for church at night. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Marnie said, "You came back, girl." Yeah. Listen. So for folks that don't really when I talk about being neck deep in church, right? And some of y'all gonna feel this. Y'all gonna know it in your soul. Because we know that Monday night, Awanas, exactly. So listen, Monday night is gonna be intercessory prayer, right? Tuesday night is gonna be women's Bible study, right? Tuesdays women's Bible study. The Wednesday night's going to be regular Bible study night, and Thursday night's going to be youth fellowship, right? Friday night's going to be whoever was having a revival, because there was a revival somewhere within a 25-mile radius. Saturday morning was going to be choir rehearsal, okay? And then Sunday morning was back to church. Okay? So just saying. She said, "What is revival?" Oh, girl. She said, "What is revival?" It's a. I have to think about how to explain it one day. Yeah, yeah. So, Jen, you just about right. Jen said it's a fundraiser. Jen, I said, "How do I describe revival?" She said, "It's a fundraiser." Well, you ain't wrong. Well, you ain't wrong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, right. Revivals were 3 days. Crusades were 2 weeks. You got it. Exactly. Exactly. Um, but the I don't even know how we got all the way here. Appreciate it, Dano. But the thing that we really need to be like, the reason I really want people to understand this and for us to talk about this, right, is to give me a second. Give me a second. Hold on, guys. Um, but the thing that I really want you all because a lot of what is happening today, I want y'all to follow me. Y'all, a lot of what is happening today is tied to our belief systems, right? It's tied to our belief systems. And for many people, it's tied to a belief system that is rooted in Christianity or church, and all of that. And so the ability to deconstruct is, it can be challenging, right? So I think that when we start to say, well, how in the world does somebody still believe a certain thing? It's because they have to believe it. Because if they don't believe it, what does it say about their entire life? What does it say about their entire belief system? What does it say about the world that they live in and the things that they've taught their children? Right? It can be traumatizing 100%. 100%. Right? But so I heard this guy, Livingstone, and he's this Livingstone pastor, and he's talking about Paula White. And he's talking about Paula White. He said, "I heard her in my spirit, 5 people was going to give $100,000 check." And he said, and I heard her say, whatever, 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 right? And I know he's heard her say those things. I've heard her say those things, right? And he made this correlation to, and that's who Donald Trump chose as his quote unquote spiritual advisor, right? But let me just say this. I really shame on you for just saying it in 2026. Shame on you for just saying it in 2022. Shame on you for just saying it in 2010. Like, shame on you for just now saying it. Where were you in 20 fucking 15? Answer me that. Riddle me that. Because it's not like y'all didn't know. I know you knew because I knew. Listen, I went back in 2018 and pulled the Senate investigation into Paula White. How many of you all knew that there was a Senate investigation into Paula White and several other Christian prosperity folks over finances and fraud? How many of you all knew that? Because that happened in 2007. She bought her $2 million condo in Trump Towers in 2002. Yeah. Yes. Her and her husband and her husband's mistress. Yes, you heard me say, and her husband's mistress. It goes back forever. So it's crazy, but it's a lot. So, oh, what's this man's name? Randy? Ain't that his name? Yeah. Yep, Randy and Paula White, they divorced in 2007, which just happens to be when the Senate investigation was going into their finances. So the church was Without Walls International Church. Remember that, you all? Oh, I love that too, Shannon. Right? They were married for 18 years. Yeah. Just so everybody, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. But most of it is a lot. I look now and when Paula White first, hey Rosalind, when Paula White first became this thing for Trump, I immediately was waiting. I was waiting for a TD Jakes or a Juanita Bynum, or I was waiting for one of them jokers who know who she is to come out and talk about this, especially after the angels of South Africa right now, the angels of South America right now, the angels of Africa, the angels of after that bullshit, after her racist angel rant, I was like, where are y'all? And the answer is in they multi-million dollar mansions, in they $100,000 cars, on their $1 million planes and yachts. That's where they all are. And that's where all of them meet. I really want you all to understand that this is where the televangelist, this is where the political grifters, this is where the organized crime, this is where the fucking celebrities, this is where all of them meet. Because in that level of classism, at that level of money, nothing else matters. Because they've all got their bullshit. They've all done their stuff. They've all done their dirt. And the only thing that matters is they all made it to this insane level of money and greed and wealth and power that it excuses everything else. And God must love them because look how much he gave them. And what's so crazy is that they equate abundance and wealth to material finances, which is some shit we made the fuck up, by the way. We made up money. We made it up. But they believe that that is what accounts to the blessing. Right? These are the things that irritate my soul. It irritates my soul like nothing you would ever believe. Right now, I get so irritated because I just want to know, where is Nala? Where is Nala? Because you're the lioness. You're supposed to be the protectress. Where's Nala? Y'all know who Nala is? Who's Nala, y'all? Where's Nala and the hive? Where is Nala and why is she not looking after the hive? Mm-mm. Nala is Beyonce, y'all. Nala is Beyonce. I'm right here, Simba. Where is Nala? Where is the queen bee? And why is she not looking after the hive? I'm just saying. You needed that laugh. Y'all know I just say shit. It just comes out. Right? Right. Jedi living in wealth and luxury. She ain't worried about y'all. Do you want to know why they don't care about young girls and old men? I don't know. Go ask Jay-Z. Go ask Aaliyah. Oh, never mind. You can't. She ain't here no more. Right? Now, I can't say that about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift be out there. I did go there. I did. I did go there because that's what they did. They came for our youngins. Yeah, let's not act like it's not a thing because it's a thing. So let me just tell you why. Let me tell you why I cannot put Taylor Swift in that same category, because Taylor Swift uses her platform all day in and day out to call a thing a thing. Gives away a shit ton of money. Does a shit ton of good. Right. Rihanna barely got away, 100%. And you will, I'm just, listen, that's why I can't put Taylor in that same category. Give me, where are the Susan Sarandons of black celebrity? So, okay, I just want you to hear what you just said, Dilgrave. You said Beyonce donated over 100,000 on every stop of her tour and did not publicize it. And my immediate reaction to that is so, because Beyonce has, I can fucking end hunger and homelessness for like several cities and towns kind of money. Like, I don't, so that's the virtue signaling, Dilgrave, that we're talking about. So listen. That is the virtue signaling. When you say Beyonce donated $100,000 on every stop of her tour and didn't publicize it, right? What, that's the same as the people in your community that vote for Trump and all the Republicans that are going to mistreat the homeless and the elderly and the sick, and then they make themselves feel better because they go give out fucking bag lunches, or they drop McDonald's on the corner for the folks that are unhoused. That's not, I don't care about that fucking tax write-off she just did. I do not care about the tax write-off she just did. Nope. Show me where she is educating, and no, he was talking about Jedi. She was talking about Rihanna in terms of Jay-Z. That's who she was talking about. I'm just saying, you all. Oprah stay quiet on her fucking on her plantation in Hawaii with her avocado orchard. With her avocado orchard. Now that she done got Sister Gail taken care of. Right, Veronica on her stolen land, correct. I think it's just really important, you all, that we understand where these places of intersection are and why we ought to be mindful of who we listen to and who we don't, who you respect and who you don't. Sharon, when you say Oprah has gotten lost because of money, I disagree. I think Oprah is who Oprah. Listen, y'all, money does not change people. Money amplifies who you have always been. If you are a shitty rich person, you were a shitty person. You just wasn't rich enough to be shitty. Money only amplifies who you've already been. That's why there can be the richest of richest people, and they're not the same. They are not the same. I disagree. I disagree when you say money brings on more demons. I disagree. I know some rich people. Money is not the root of all evil. That is not true. Money is not the root of all evil. It is the love of money. It is the love of money. And I even think that's bullshit. Do you want me to tell you why? Money is energy like everything else. There ain't nothing special about money. Money, who wants you to believe that love and money is wrong? Rich people? Because they got all the damn money. That's who wants you to believe. Rich people not walking around telling each other that they shouldn't love the money they have. They only telling people that don't have money not to love it. They only trying to convince people without money that money is bad. So here's the thing. But that is something that we are taught. We are taught. So listen, you all, we are taught to feel that loving money is bad. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you all feel that loving food is bad? Just inherently. Just inherently loving something's existence, is that bad? No. It is not the love of something that is bad. It is the type of love that you have. It is what you do with the thing that you love. It's not bad to love your husband or your wife until what? Until it gets out of balance. And then you begin to put them on a pedestal at the expense of other people. That is the same thing with money. That is the same thing with food. It ain't bad to love ice cream until you eat more ice cream than you eat fruits and vegetables every single day, day in and day out. Even if you're thin, I'm not talking about your weight. I'm talking about what's good for your body. Since when can love be a bad thing? When is love ever a bad thing? Real, pure love. I bet you love money when it enables you to buy your children their clothes. You love money when it enables you to get your kid into school. You love money, right? When you keep them lights on, Salam Abdul, right? You love money when it enables you to help somebody else. You love money. That's not a bad love, but that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that it is a bad thing. I have no idea what we have going on in this inbox right here, y'all. Folks, if you meant to request to come up to my live, put a 1 in the chat and I can bring you up to the panel. I'm just saying, Courage. I looked in that inbox, that request, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Yeah. So, and that's so Sharon, that's the thing that that we could talk about. So listen, when we talk about, when you say, she just said, for those of you who can't hear her, she just can't see what she is. She said, helping people gives me such a high. So the question becomes, are you doing it to help, or are you doing it for you? Are you doing it just to help? What if you didn't get a high? Exactly, Indigo. I don't believe there's anything. I don't believe there's anything wrong with both. Yep. I believe it can be both, 100%. It can be both. The thing is that it has to come from a place of authenticity. You have to ask yourself, which one is the driver? Yeah, but Rogue, you have to ask yourself, which one is the driver? Which one is the cause and which one is the effect? Hello, Asim. Right? Which one is the cause and which one is the effect? So Butter's house, you said should be morality. So let's dissect that. Okay. Let's dissect that. Number one, morality is subjective. And so I don't play the morality game, because for some people, every time I say fuck, it just shakes their moral fiber. You know what I mean? I don't do morality is subjective. Okay. And then the second thing, right? And then the second thing is the should. It should be immoral. It should be morality. So every time you shit on yourself. Every time you should. Whenever you use the word should, it is an indicator that you are judging. Do you follow me? Every time you use the word should, even against yourself, especially against yourself, you are judging. Should is an indicator of judgment. I am saying that you could have done it better and you should have done it better. So what's wrong with you that you didn't do it the way that it should have been done? And that's even within yourself, especially within yourself. And so it becomes problematic language when we use it against ourselves and other people. So, Rogue, when you say judgment in a negative way, because some judgment we need, I don't need you. I don't need your judgment. Why do you think we need judgment? Why do you think, you know what? I don't know a single person that needs judgment, because what I believe is that most of us judge the fuck out of ourselves. Do you need anybody else to help judge you? don't need nobody else to help judge me. Right? Right. I don't know why people think that we need to shame other people. Most of us, the majority of us are already hard enough on ourselves. It's the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment that keeps us from moving forward and healing and growing. And the few that don't have that, right? And the few that don't have that, it's just not into them. A friend of mine taught me something back in 2008. You ready? And this is what he taught me. And I want y'all to just sit with this for a second. He said, sis, you can't put into people what the good Lord left out. You can't put into people what the good Lord left out. Now, let me say this, okay? I don't know that anything is quote unquote left out of people. What I do think is that the only people that can put anything in themselves is themselves. I can't put compassion in you. I can't put authenticity in you. I can't put vulnerability in you. It might look like it's been left out to me because you're not giving that shit over here. I don't see it present. But the only person that can put it in you, the only person that can choose it for you is you. And the only person that can multiply it and walk in it is you. I was having a conversation. I won't say who this person is, but let me just say this person is related to me. Okay. And they are younger. And when I say younger, they are in their formative years. How about that? Let me say it that way. They are in their formative years. You ready? So check this out. And they were talking about not wanting to be in an environment because the people in this particular environment weren't inclusive, and they felt like they didn't belong, and that it wasn't going to be fun. Okay. And I said to this person, I get it. And that's a really, really hard space to be in at any age, especially your age. Get that. And this is also why it's so beneficial, or it can be beneficial for you to be in that environment. And here's why. Because all throughout life, there are going to be people that aren't inclusive. All throughout life, there are going to be people that don't include you, that don't make you feel welcome. You're going to be in scenarios where people are off to themselves, and you're going to be, and this helps you develop and determine who you choose to be in those environments. Because I can tell you, it happens like this throughout all of your life, whether that is in school, whether that is in college, whether that is in your job. No matter what it is, there will always be those people that aren't welcoming. There will always be those people that aren't inclusive. And our natural response is to go, ooh, I just want to close up and put myself in a protective bubble and just not be around y'all because y'all are fucking mean. Right? And I said, I get that. That's a natural response. I just would ask you, is that who you want to be? Do you want to withdraw into a cocoon of a shell and not explore? Do you want how they are to determine who you choose to be, because you get to determine, right? And this is when you develop those skills right now in this moment. You develop those skills right now so that regardless, you get to choose, right? Um, and so I want to talk about that, Dolphin. So Dolphin just said something that everybody says. So let me ask you this, folks. If you are one of the people that, here's what you say is, um, yes, I can in just a second. Soy Marie. Yes. So listen, how many of you all would say to you, how many of you all would say right now that I'm grateful for everything that I've been through because it's made me who I am? If that is something that you identify with or that you agree with, put a one in the chat. I'm grateful for everything I've been through because it's made me who I am. I see lots of ones. Liv said, nope. Okay. Okay. So now here's going to be my next question. Here's going to be my follow up to that. Are you ready? If you, I want you to follow, and this is where I want you to be like really authentic and honest with yourself. Are you ready? I'm not asking if you ask for it or not. I'm asking if you are grateful for who it's been. So listen. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Because this is when you gotta have to be like real with yourself for a second. Okay. If you feel the answer to this question is, if 10 is the highest score, okay, and 0 is the least, okay. If you love who you are as a person 75% of the time or greater, put a 2 in the chat. If you love who you are 75% of the time or more, put a 2. %80 or more of the time, put a 3. %80 of the time or more, put a 3. 90% of the time or more, put a 4. If you love who you are 90% of the time or more, give me a 4. Not y'all breaking it down into halves. They went from 3s to 3.5s. Birdman said, nope. Okay, so this is the key. If you didn't get all the way to 4, all right, this is where the opportunity is. So follow me. You said still a 1. I got you. Nobody's perfect. I didn't say 100%. I got to 90, damn it. I got to 90. You might need 25%. Okay, so listen. Here it is. Most people are who they are because that's who life made them, which is why most people say, yes, I'm grateful for the things that have happened to me because they made me this great person that I am today. The question that I would ask you is, are you the person that you want to be? Even if you understand why you are the way you are, is how you are the way you want to be? And is it how you want to be? 80%, 85%, 90% of the time. Right, which is why you're 85. It's always a work in progress, y'all. Listen, y'all trying to convince me of why you're a work in progress. I already know. There's no judgment over here. The question, though, is Okay, so everybody goes, I know why I am the way I am because this happened to me, and because that happened to me, and because they did this to me, and because I lived through this, and I da 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 da. And that's why I am the way I am. And I love me. The question is it the way you want to be? Is it who you want to be? If you could just twinkle your fucking nose and be someone, is it how you want to be? Even if you're justified being that way, is it how you want to be? And the great thing is we get to choose if it's not. Somebody said something that I wanted to yeah, so Kathleen, if you want to join the panel and we could talk about it, I'm happy to do that. Shut up, Red Hot, not you in them stomachs. This was the comment. Proud. Okay, we're gonna unpack proud. Proud said, I want to be better. No such thing. Proud, there is no such thing as better. Okay, no worries, Kathleen. We can do it another time. I really want to talk about it though. So listen, there's no such thing as better. No such thing. It's just different. Nope, there's no do better. It's just do. Because, okay, listen, every day and every moment you are doing your best based on who you are and what you know at the time. Every day you are doing the best you can. The problem is we judge the best that we're doing today on the best that we did on our best day when everything else was best. When I wake up, so like listen, if you're in my subscribers discourse, you know that my pain level has been a good 7-8 for about 3 days now, and I'm cooking at a good 6-7 right now. Okay. 6-7 right now, right? The thing is that my best on a day when I wake up and my pain level is a 6-7, and a day that I wake up and there's money in the bank and the grandkids are behaving and the sun is shining and I don't have to deal with fuckery, and like on those days my best looks different than on a day that I wake up and my pain level is a 4. You understand? Listen, the day that you found out your significant other cheated, your best was different that day. The day that you lost your job, your best was different that day. The time since you were assaulted, the time since you were in the car wreck, the time since you experienced your trauma, right? Life has been different. But every single one of those is your best. And something that I really want people to understand is that, you know how we say all the time, when we know better, we do better? Everybody's heard that, right? When you know better, you do better. Listen, folks, there's a difference between knowing better and knowing better. They are not the same. They are not the fucking same. Because we know intellectually better a ton. But it's not until we know it in the depths of our being and in our soul that we can actually do it. There's a shift that takes place, that takes from the knowing from the head to the heart. There is something that changes, that shifts, and it takes your knowing from your head to your heart. And then once you know it in your heart, and a lot of times knowing it in your heart means that you know it from a place of safety. That's a lot of times what the difference is that you know it from a place of safety, that no matter what, no matter how this shakes out, no matter what happens, no matter what comes through, no matter what my experience is, no matter, right, I'm going to be okay. And once you know that you're going to be okay, you can do shit you never thought you could do. Even if you're not going to be the same. Once you know that you're going to be okay, all of a sudden you can do things that you can do. And that is the difference. What would you do right now? What would you do right now if you knew that if you put forth all of your energy and all of your effort and all of your effort into the midterms that you couldn't lose, what would you do? If you knew for sure that if you put in the effort that you would win, that you could help shape Congress come the midterms, what would you do? What are you not doing because you're scared it won't make a difference? Alicia, run. Girl, you better go pick up a petition. You better go pick up a petition. And even if it's not for 2026, then it's for 2027 or 2028. You know, I don't know if y'all know, sometimes I sit up here and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I can't promise anybody that Project for the People and the efforts that we're doing is actually going to make the thing happen. What I do know is that I just trust the effort. You know what I'm saying? I trust the effort and I trust the energy and I trust the work. That's it. That's it. And I can't do anything else but that. But it's like, it is, I really want people to sit with this is where, okay. So there's two pieces of this. I want you all to understand this. When we are talking to people about the things that matter, right? Then we absolutely are talking about the healthcare, the education, the housing, the economic mobility, right? And then we have to talk about our belief systems that underline those things. And then we have to be able to explore where they disconnect. So if you tell me as a person that you are a person of faith, and that as a person of faith, that means that you want to care for children, right? Then I'm going to ask you how that shows up in your vote. Right, Blue Honey Pot. So follow me. I put up a post. How many of you all follow me on Facebook? Do you follow me on the Book of Faces? Yeah. Okay. So as you know, I irritated some folks because I put up a post about those two thug extremist white supremacist terrorists that that attacked the mosque in the Islamic Center in San Diego. Okay. And I'm going to share with you what I wrote, and then I'm going to share with you a recent comment that someone posted. And then I'm going to share with you my response to her. So this is my post. It was a week ago today, as a matter of fact. And it says, quote, Two radicalized neo-Nazi white supremacist thugs killed 3 people, including a father of 8 children, and the lack of outcry is loud. These two had 30 guns, were dressed in camouflage, and were live streaming. They believed in the quote unquote great replacement theory and were full of hate. It appears, though, because the people they attacked were Muslim, many of you don't have much to say. Every single member of Congress, any state legislature, any elected position who has been spewing the anti-Muslim rhetoric across the country, including the president, needs to be held accountable. I'm so sick of watching the president refer to President Obama as quote unquote Hussein. Watching Representative Andy Ogles say, quote, Muslims don't belong in American society. That's a fucking direct quote by Congressman Andy Ogles. He said, and I quote, Muslims don't belong in American society. All the shit about quote unquote Sharia law coming to New York because of Dani. Every single one of you are helping create a narrative that is fostering hate and costing lives. Those of you not pointing this out are complicit. The lack of media talking about their radicalization, the Islamophobia, the rhetoric from politicians is disgusting to me. And then you have the nerve to post them in Letterman jackets with high school medals instead of their camouflage and their weapons. I don't know how many of you all caught that, but every time they showed a picture of those two, they were in fucking Letterman jackets from their high schools and their wrestling medals. Did you see it? And then I just put shame on you. And so Karen, I'm sorry. No, her real name is Lisa. I just looked at it and thought her name must be Karen, but it's not. Her real name is Lisa Foley. And Lisa's response to my post was this, quote, oh, you mean in all caps, oh, you mean the 2 teenagers who some would say are old enough to make life-altering decisions? Now, you know what she's hinting at. That life-altering decision, she's hinting at being trans. You know that, right? But just listen. She says, oh, you mean the 2 teenagers who some would say are old enough to make life-altering decisions? You're upset they made life-altering decisions and killed people? Yes, bitch, I am. I don't know why that's hard to fathom, but yes. And then she says, guess why not 24/7 media coverage? Because it's teenagers, number one. Number two, known mental illness, including gun confiscation of the one teenager. Listen, confiscating a weapon is not indicative of mental illness. Just want to say that. And then they say, so the narrative you're pushing doesn't line up and your outrage is disappearing. How about let's then talk the missing kids. See, I can't. Sentences, full ass sentences, please. Anyway, I'm reading verbatim at what she said. Quote, how about let's then talk the missing kids? Where's that outrage? I'm guessing that she's referring to the rhetoric around immigration and the Biden-Harris administration and quote unquote missing children that aren't actually like quote unquote miss. I think that's what she's referring to. And then she says, too much outrage and not enough background. These kids were on the radar. They were shown to have mental problems and still easily accessed firearms because their parents have fucking 30 of them. And then she goes, hope the parents all serves jail times for their part. That's not me with the singular plural issue. I'm reading it verbatim. That's not Dani not knowing singular and plural. That's not. It says, hope the parents all serves jail time for their part of the deaths. Oh, and just an FYI, this is an example on children not being able to make life-changing decisions. So this was my response. Lisa Foley, you can join the military at 17. In 34 states in this country, you can get married at 16. In 13 states in this country, had either of these two been girls and pregnant as a result of grape or otherwise, they'd be forced into motherhood. Stop acting like y'all give a damn about children making adult decisions too early in life. It's bullshit and deflection. Listen, I am tired of you all saying children they don't know, like, if they're attracted to boys or girls, but children can become mothers and fathers at the age of 13, 14, and 15 in this country. Fuck you. Children don't know what pronoun they want to use, right? But they can sign up and join the military and have that system automated so they can be shipped off to fight a fucking war that many of y'all would never ever sign up to be part of, right? You're upset because children might be like, I don't really feel like I'm male or female. This is a really fucked up world. But you're not upset at children in this country being able to marry grown ass fucking men, and those same grown ass men keep introducing legislation to be able to marry our children. And you want to talk to me about fake outrage? Get the fuck out of here. Can we actually talk about the issue? You think everybody is supposed to be scared about this trans that. Don't nobody give a damn. Tell me, here's what I really sincerely want to know. I want to know how someone else's child's decision with their parents, with their medical physicians, with their psychiatrists, with their pharmacists, with their whole ass medical team. I want to know how that child and their parents and their medical team directly impacts your life. That's what I want to know. Give me one example. Because I can give you an example, and so can those 8 children. They can give you an example of these radicalized white supremacist teenagers. Buenos dias, Mr. Barrios. Show me. You want to talk to me about the one study about how some trans kids regret whatever they did, but you don't want to talk about the study that says more than 80% of them are super, super grateful for the process that they went to and being who they are, and you don't want to talk about the hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of gay children that you all tortured in Pray Away the Gay conversion therapies? You want to say that parents that support their children being LGBTQIA are somehow causing them harm, but you do not want to own the impact of the church and conversion therapy and conversion camps and the fucking centers and places where you send them in the deserts, and some of them died. You don't want to talk about that? I'm not doing that, folks. And so for me, I would have Lisa, sit down with me and have a real conversation about your faith, about your religion, about children, about their well-being, about what's been most damaging to children throughout the history of this country. Is it parents, or is it typically the weaponization of religion in this country? And before you answer that question, please go ask an Indigenous individual whose children were forced to go to boarding schools in this country or Canada, because those facilities were run by the government and the church. And here's the fun part. Sometimes it was the Baptist church, sometimes it was the Catholic church. It didn't really matter. It was just a Christian church. Where they beat those children, starve those children, use them for work. And then after you get done doing that, then I want you to go look up the entire database of the hundreds upon hundreds of victims from the Southern Baptist Convention. I want you to go look at those children. Can we do that? How many of you all have you ever looked at that database? Because I have. The fact that I have to use the words Southern Baptist, database, essay, and children all in the same sentence is fucking wild. Yeah, there's a database. There was a whole case about it. Yeah. I believe it's in my link tree. Hold on. Yep. So, boom, boom, boom. There's a huge report. So let me just tell you, the Southern Baptist Convention released this report in 2022. And just to give you an idea, these are only between 2000 and 2019. It's only from 2000 and 2019. It is a 205-page database with over 700 entries. Shit, which I forgot. Sorry, y'all. I'm irritated because I'm supposed to have a stop and I don't really want to have a stop. Oh, not y'all haven't taken it down off your website, Southern Baptist Convention. I will do. Let me just be very clear about this. If this is for real, if I click this link again, and the Southern Baptist Church really did take this down, if they really did, I will do a whole ass video and I'm going to ask every single one of you all to share the fuck out of it. Because if the Southern Baptist Convention actually took down this report and this list of the 700 and some odd entries, I literally will be like, you've got to be kidding me right now. I'm literally about to be real pissed. Hold on, y'all. They sure the fuck did. They took it down. They took it down. It says, sorry, we can't find what you're looking for. If you'd like more help, you may use the search bar below. Give me a second, y'all. Oh, this is what I need in my life right now. Hold on one second, because I'm irritated now. Y'all have to just bear with me one second. because now I'm irritated. And this probably is directly because, so for everybody that, if you don't know, so like I am an SA survivor, so maybe this hit a specific like little made me feel a certain way right now, but it did. I feel some kind of way right now in this moment. Um, um, Give me 1 second, because now I am very I'm irritated. Um, Sorry, y'all. Uh, we're just gonna do things in real time because I'm irritated. Um, Sorry, y'all. I am doing the most right now, and I know that I am. Just bear with me for just a second. Um, um, I'm glad. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Not me over here looking. No, that's not what I want. Um, Y'all are like, yes, Dani, you need therapy today. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I crack myself up. Yeah, I know I can use way back. But the point is, like, it's not even that I want way back. What I really want right now is I want an answer from somebody. That's what I want right now more than anything. Um, because this is one of those things where I just feel like see, I want them to make shit so that it's that's what I want. Ooh, is it gonna make me, let me see if it's gonna, give me a second, y'all. Let me see if this works. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
You've reached Sharon in the President's office at the Executive Committee. I'm sorry I can't take your call right now.
Okay.
Please leave your name, phone number, and a brief message, and I'll return your call as soon as possible.
Let's just see who. Yes, this is me calling the Southern Baptist Convention in real time.
Hello. This user's calls are being screened. Please press 1 to reach the user. calling Jeff Dalrymple in the Office for Abuse Prevention and Response with the Southern Baptist Convention Executive Committee. Please leave a message and we will return your call just as soon as we are able.
Hi, Jeff. I wanted to see if you could help me out with something. I am looking at an old article where I'm supposed to be able to access the 200 plus database that you all have for the offenders between 2020 2019 for abuse. And since you are the director of abuse prevention and response, I was wondering if you could kind of direct me, because your site says that it's been moved from the link where it previously was. So if you could give me a call back, that would be fantastic. Again, my name is Dani, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks. Bye. Mm-mm. All of them are going to hate me today. I'm going to call the Southern Baptist Convention all fucking day. Sorry, y'all. This irritates me. No, girl, they got caller ID. See, you just showing your age, Cheryl. You know they don't need me to leave a number. They got caller ID. And you know, I wasn't about to say my name on this live. No, Dag, it wasn't.
Hi there, you've reached Hannah Bolick, the SBC Executive Committee's Abuse Prevention and Response Coordinator. If you'd like for me to give you a call back, please just leave your name and your phone number.
No, I don't. I don't, Hannah. I want to talk to somebody right now. Y'all gonna see little videos of me on social media calling the Southern Baptist Convention. You missed some of this. They not on lunch. They in Nashville.
Thank you for calling the SBC Executive Committee. You've reached the office of Amy Thompson. Please leave a message and I'll return your call.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I have an appointment in 5 minutes. All right. And so I'm going to go to my appointment. And here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do with me is I'm going to do my therapy appointment. I'm going to grab the girls off the bus. I will be back here in, technically that's going to take 2 hours. So 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're going to come back here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat. Be back here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we are going to cover this. Yeah, it's justice. Yeah, the opposite of poverty isn't well. It's just okay. So 3 p.m. Be back here. I'm going to go do this, and then I shall be back momentarily. Okay, not momentarily, but at 3 p.m. And then we will call the Southern Baptist Convention together. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. Because I want to know why the database has been moved, and like even if you were going to move it, why not just redirect the link to someone else, right? You could have done that. I'm just saying. Yeah, you can collect your points now, or you can collect them afterwards. Either way is good. I appreciate you all. I know we've just kind of been all over the mulberry bush today, from data spreadsheets and elections to church and Paula White and Juanita Bynum to the Southern Baptist Convention to Karen, aka Lisa, over on Facebook. But this is just what it looks like sometimes when we just have to talk about all the things, and we still haven't even gotten to some of the other things. But here's my thing. I don't know that those things are going to move. Yes, it is all connected. Thank you, the other Jen. I appreciate you guys. Love you a bunch, and I will see you in 2 hours. Okay. Peace out.